Alright, y'all, we are gonna be live in 6 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes. So we'll just give people some time to come on here, and I will get on the stream here. Alright. There we go. Got the chat going. One person on. Alright. We're camped out in the one of the bedrooms because the little ones are having a good old time with the grandparents, and let's just say women aren't the only people I offend when I speak. So I have relegated myself to the recesses of my own house so that I can speak candidly. Toasted Rabbit, good evening.
Hey there.
Troy S. Hit us up on the replay. Thanks for stopping by, man. LaVon Grace just started covering. It's awesome, especially as a wife and a mom.
Aw.
Very nice. Round 2 cliffhanger. Oh boy, here we go. I knew Josh would be here. Corey Wassel in New York, right?
Yeah.
New York.
How's Austin today, Toasted Rabbit? Did it get hot down there?
I bet you got hot in Austin.
Whew,
I bet you Austin was extra weird today.
It was hot up here today.
Yeah, it was hot.
Yep. Having some oranges.
Some oranges. We're going to be starting in 4 more minutes. We'll just give everybody a chance to get on.
The boys are outside finishing up chores. The little ones are all bathed up, hanging out with my parents in the living room, watching.
Yep, they're just swimming in the cow trough.
It was a family swim in the water trough.
We did not participate.
Yeah, we sat on the outside, but all of the...
LaVon Grace is relocating to Texas. All right.
Oh, it's a good place to go.
All right. Cindy stayed home and sold some rabbits. Nice.
Oh, well, there you go.
Ah, you sound more like Canadian. Heartway Farm says, happy Mother's Day.
Oh, happy Mother's Day to you. Hope everybody had a good day today. We had a good day today.
Brian Otto is a fellow Texan. Good evening, Brian. Sheila Hudson, hello.
We had some barbecue meatloaf.
Oh, it was ridiculously good.
With
barbecue meatloaf is so good.
With cheddar cheese and...
Hey, Justin Stevens. Justin Stevens, you work for the railroad? Because my friend Rick O'Grady is trying to get a hold of you. He's up in Ohio, and he works for the railroad as well.
Yes. And what else? We had mac and cheese.
We had some organic mac and cheese.
We had...
Justin, if you could send me an email, and I'll forward it to Rick.
We had sweet potatoes, string beans, and I made banana cookies.
Banana cookies. Oh.
With chocolate chips.
Yep. They were good.
Now everybody's getting washed up, finishing up their chores, and ready to chillax for the day. The boys went fishing again. And they've been like on a fishing frenzy lately over at the ranch.
Oh, I can't cut and paste that. All right. I'll have to, I'll get that from you. Let's see. Where's my ass on?
So where are you looking to relocate to in Texas? Did you figure that out?
Northern Maine. All right.
Do you have a specific area in Texas you're looking at?
Liz Smith, happy Mother's Day. Rosemary Kidney, hello from Northern Maine. What parts of Northern Maine? My grandparents had a cabin on Eagle Lake, which is on the border. Becky Jameson, hi from Pennsylvania. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
What parts of Pennsylvania? All right, let's see here. All right, well, we can get started. So tonight we're gonna for real talk about investing, and hopefully I won't get too sidetracked or rabbit trailed, and we can answer some questions near Philly. Conshohocken, are you near the Schuylkill River, the Schuylkill? I drove a 26-foot box truck with a 16-foot car trailer with my car on it coming back from snow skiing, and I had to drive on the Schuylkill, and I was 23.
We were just married.
We were newly married. Upper Darby. Where Upper Darby is. We were newly married, and I was too young. They would not rent me a rental car, but U-Haul would rent me a box truck and a car trailer. So
because our car broke down.
Go figure that one.
That was a fun trip.
Southeastern Texas, Southern Texas Homestead. Good evening. How you doing?
They're looking at southeastern Texas?
No, they're from southeastern Texas.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Texas Mom.
That's okay.
Yeah, so just wanted to talk about investing and basically what Josh and Mandy.
Well, hey.
Well, look, they even changed their Josh and Mandy and changed their thing.
What is that?
Check that out. That's their sign.
I was thinking about that today.
Now that is good YouTube channel branding.
Yeah.
Rick O'Grady, check the feed, man. Justin Stevens is on, and he posted his email address.
Our railroad crew.
All right, Ricko. We have a camp in St. Droid Lake, 2 miles from Eagle Lake. Check that out.
Well, that's
great fishing. You ain't lying. That's some good fishing up there. Oh, those are flowers they grew for Mother's Day last year.
Oh, okay. Super cool.
Like it. I like it.
The boys are out moving the rabbit tractors right now while we speak.
Moving the tractors. I was mulching out there. It's looking super fantastic. I got mulberries on my brand new giant mulberry tree. Oh, it's going to be fantastic.
Anybody who hasn't gone and checked out Josh and Mandy, they're good friends.
Check out Josh and Mandy's channel. It's got a super awesome rabbit tractor build. He built us a couple. And he can probably get you the old blueprints that he made up.
They're awesome. And they do
Rick J.
market gardening.
How you doing, Rick J? Happy Mother's Day, TM.
Oh, thank you, Rick J. Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Oh, sure. You're from Jamaica and you live in Florida. Texas people remind me of Jamaica as well. Won't trade this rock, man. I remember. No, was that in Jamaica? No, that wasn't. Have we been to Jamaica? We haven't been to Jamaica.
We've never been to Jamaica.
No, I forget. I had his cabbie one time.
We've been everywhere else.
Yeah.
I think you're thinking of one of the saints.
Yeah,
we were in St. Thomas.
Yeah, St. Thomas or St. Kitts. Won't trade this rock, man. That's what the guy was telling me. It's like, I wouldn't trade your rock either, bro.
It's a pretty nice island, yeah.
Nipa. You mean Nepal or Nipa? Is Nipa a, wow.
Yeah, people are very laid back and overtly Christian. Everybody is.
Oh, Josh and Mandy doubled their subscribers this weekend.
Wow,
yeah.
Sweet. Check that out. These rabbit tractors are amazing, and it's just worth.
They are awesome.
To go take a look.
Oh, it's gonna revolutionize.
So nice. We don't have to worry about the breeding hutches anymore and all that stuff. They can just do it all right in the tractor.
Northeast PA. Okay, northeast. So that's going to be north of Philly, obviously. Shelly Snyder, good evening. So, okay, let's talk investing. And, you know, the more I kind of get into this and think about it, I think the first thing you have to think about and I actually learned all this stuff after I went to school and after I did all the financial planning stuff and all that stuff, was about the Federal Reserve and the Federal Reserve Act. And I mean, as soon as you learn that the Federal Reserve is not federal and there's no reserve, and then when you learn about fractional reserves and fractional lending, Teal House Farm. Is this Sam or Laura? How y'all doing? I was just watching your rock pruning. You were pruning the rocks from the garden bed.
It's Sam.
Yo, Sam, how you doing, man? Yes, bye gold standard, and that's kind of like the big thing, and that's kind of what I want to talk about. And people were asking me last week, like, hey, where can we get our information? One person that I think is really good is Peter Schiff, and he's definitely a gold guy. And he's quote unquote conservative and what have you. I think most of the financial guys, they're not cognizant. They're either not cognizant of the Bible, they're not Christian, or they think, because like even Schiff thinks that, like, well, if you position your money with these good countries, I don't think you should be an apocalyptic investor. Hey, nothing. I mean, it certainly looks like everything's fallen into place, but it might not for 1,000 years. So, and that's why I think there's even more beauty in our strategy, because for multifaceted reasons. But I mean, I can guarantee you that a strategic, systematic savings in any kind of open market will absolutely fail. And I mean, if worst case, all you did was put all your money in gold and silver and precious metals, I mean, they have been a store of value for thousands of years. They continue to be. There's lots of interesting things with this Iran embargo and what it's already starting to do to the price of oil and all that stuff, and what it's going to continue to do to the price of cost of goods. Because what we are going to see, what we are already seeing hyperinflation, and hyperinflation has been created by all the quantitative easing, and that's the Fed printing money to buy U.S. bonds to reinflate all these bubbles, to reinflate the tech bubble that popped in 99 and reinflate the housing bubble that popped in 2008 and the liquidity crisis. So instead of taking our lumps, right, in a typical American fashion, instead of taking our lumps, if we would have let the liquidity crisis happen, we could have allowed all the bubbles to deflate, and it would have been very painful and very difficult, probably for 12 to 18 months, and then we would have naturally recovered from that. We would have prevented in many ways these bubbles from reoccurring. But instead, what we did is we did quantitative easing, supposedly 3 or 4 times. But if you really look at the data, they did it like 8 or 9 times. And so we've done all this quantitative easing to stick the holes that were in these bubbles and blow these bubbles back up. Now this housing bubble is bigger than it was before. Now the stock market bubble is bigger than it was before. And all these systemic problems that we have in the U.S. economy, we've just reinflated them. And any logical, reasonable person would absolutely have to concur that it was done on purpose. And I believe it's done on purpose to destroy the dollar. And I wish Dooloowoohoo was on tonight, because I'm also convinced that, you know, when I take my thoughts on investing and I also look at it from a Christian perspective, from a biblical perspective, and then look at it from like an end times perspective, to me it makes everything make even more sense. They need to destroy the U.S. economy. They're never going to get our guns. Which is why they want civil war. And so they're trying to invoke civil war. If they can't get civil war, they'll just crash the economy. And, you know, we've seen this done a multiplicity of times. We saw it done in Germany. You know, they did it with hyperinflation in Germany. And then what? They used nationalism, and they wanted to make Germany great again. And you put in a dictator, you know, and it's all the, you know, and it's just like every puppet regime. You know, we want to replace Assad now because he's a useless puppet regime that doesn't follow orders anymore. So now Iran, yeah, Rwanda, exactly. And that was the Catholics in Rwanda. And all that genocide in 1994. And Pope Gregorio, I don't know if anybody remembers, but the Pope apologized in 2000 and whatever for all the priests and nuns that, all that, what, 8 million they genocided in Rwanda in the 90s. So, you know, and it's all, what is it about? It's about resources. It's about human trafficking, but it's also about resources. And all these scarce resources. Yeah, Rwanda, the country. Yeah. Yes, they knew. And that's what's, you know, we just, the only way, you have to approach everything to, you have to start with reality before you approach a subject. And because if you just continue with the normalcy bias and, you know, well, diversified portfolio in the market, and so I get an 8% rate of return so that I can retire, it's just, it's a false paradigm. And so, you know, what do we do? Okay, so we were in the market. I believe that there are real assets that you can invest in. One is real estate. And real estate's real. And yes, there's property taxes and you'll never truly own it. But it is real. You can invest sweat equity into it, right? I mean, you can buy a property and you can invest your time, treasures, and talents into it. And you can improve it and then you can sell it. And think about this, when you are developing infrastructure, like say it's fruit trees or say it's a garden, but exclusively perennial type plants. You know, okay, if you're developing a portfolio, you know, I'm heavily into trees and highly propagatable items. Okay, so 90% of everything that I plant is highly propagatable. And there's 3 or 4 or 5 advantages to that. But one thing you got to think about is, okay, this weekend I went out there and I spent time and I improved that. Okay, I added value to it. I'm going to improve the performance of it. I'm going to improve the aesthetics of it, and it's going to produce more. What type of investment in the yes, if you look into that whole Rwanda thing, it'll make your hair turn blue. But what type of investment can you invest your time and sweat equity into it and improve it by 1,000-fold? I mean, right now, I was at a friend's house yesterday, and he's got a lot of really cool stuff going on, and he definitely has a full permaculture approach. But most of his trees haven't fruited yet, and my trees are way younger than his. And but if you put the time in, and I'm not saying he does a great job and his stuff looks great. And but I really, you know, the dirt doctor treatment you're supposed to do like at least once a month, and I do it at least every other week, usually once a week. And I mean, the dividends are incredible. The cost is so insignificantly minimal. If you're making your own Garrett juice, the cost is like, I mean, it might cost me $1, 75 cents every time I go out, and that's spraying everything. That's all 200 and some trees, and but you're seeing the dividends. What type of market investment? What type of monetary, forex, fiat currency, exchange traded, whatever? All of those synthetic quote unquote investments. What can you do to affect those at all? Nothing. One, you have to trust a professional, supposedly. Oh, or you can do it yourself. You put your money in there and you pray for the best. That's the best that you can do. You put your money in there, you cross your fingers, and you rub your statues and do all that stuff. I mean, that's all. that's
Well, and
pray harder.
What
I mean,
is more inflated every year than food?
well, that's the perfect point. You think about our infrastructure. This hyperinflation thing is going to hit commodities, and when it hits commodities, it's going to hit very hard, right? And what's going to happen to a gallon of raw milk? A gallon of raw milk will easily double. A gallon of pasteurized milk will double, right? But what's going to happen to the cost of a gallon of our milk? Nothing.
Sure. Yeah, that's in the cow book that we read.
It's inflation proof.
Inflation proof. Grass.
Yeah.
If you have grass and water,
Yeah. Our butter costs are going to remain the same. Our cheese costs are going to remain the same. Our milk costs are going to remain the same. It's a perfect inflation hedge. And this is, when you talk about guys like Schiff and stuff, and they want to talk about, oh, well, you invest over here, and Puerto Rico is a good tax shelter, and these countries are doing the right thing. It's an international coup d'etat. It's an international conspiracy. And
it will cost you to protect your cows and goods. Yeah, I mean, it does cost. We got the dogs, and we would have to feed them. But
yeah,
in a bad situation, you can always feed dogs how they used to do it.
Right. Yeah, and with our rabbits, I mean, I even think somebody on the Great American Farm Tour was raising rabbits for dog feed, and that's going to be a viable option if necessary. We've already considered that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like us. We don't need to have mac and cheese and sweet potatoes every night.
Yep.
We could do with less.
We could obviously, and make hay while the sun shines. I mean, that's another great point about investing. And a lot of people, I want to move to a homestead now, and we're in debt. Look, you got to do a little bit. I didn't plant 220 or 30 fruit trees all in one day, all in 1 week, all in 1 year. And you just do it. And I did it as we had the money to do it. I didn't do it, I didn't take out any loans to do it. I did it. And the way I approach it now is I invest, I'm in sales, so I'm on commission. So my income can very dramatically vary. And I invest 10% a week of what I bring home in infrastructure, and it's a lot. It's a lot, and everybody's like, "Wow, you're buying trees again?" Well, yeah, that's my dollar cost average and savings plan, and and that's why I'm buying trees again. And I just went out and bought $300 worth of trees this past week, and probably this week I'm probably going to buy another couple $100 worth of trees. I got this rebate thing from Bosch for the dishwasher, so probably going to use that to buy trees with.
And another thing, like our friends in California that we just became friends with, like, it's not a bad investment because permaculture is a growing trend. Homesteading, having a little homestead is a growing trend. Well, just like the guy in Florida, I'm trying to think, I'm sorry.
Which guy? Pete.
Pete Canaris, it's a very popular thing, this edible landscape thing. Even so, if you're putting these things in place, you're only improving the value of your home or your property, even if that's not where you're going to stay permanently.
Here's the thing about hyperinflation. The big talk among organic growers, the big talk amongst homesteaders is the cost versus, okay, well, make it as a homesteader, or can you make it as a market gardener? All right, sorry about that. It already started buffering, but once these commodities hyperinflate, it's just like oil. There's no money in fracking and horizontal drilling. Let's see what it does. All right, we'll try. We'll see what this is going to do. I'm only 24 minutes. Usually it's at an hour, and it starts to play those games on me with the. But yeah, once this inflationary process hyperinflation really kicks in, it's going to make everything that we're doing as homesteaders exponentially profitable. One, it's going to make it exponentially profitable for personal use because we're going to continue to provide our families with the quality of food that we need. And it's also going to give us trade commodities of incredible value for barter or sale or whatever. Because, you know, what happens when monetary systems hyperinflate, you know, if you have a real commodity that people need, they will give you all of their printed currency, not that even any, you know, and then if you remember the Weimar Republic and everything that happened in Germany and the whole, you know, they would take a wheelbarrow of money to go get a loaf of bread. And the story goes is they brought the wheelbarrow of money to buy the loaf of bread, and they went inside and somebody's barrel, because it had an instrument as a tool, a pile of money.
Right.
And so...
Well, and even going with your fruit trees and things, bushes and everything that you're propagating, you know, picking those things that are easily reproducible so you can sell them. I mean, it is, you know, a way to make money.
Yeah, I want to develop that business, and I want to sell starts and cuttings and all that stuff. And the other beautiful thing, I could try it. Let's see. I don't know if it might be a Verizon thing, and I don't know if anybody's interested, but we could try coming back on in an hour. If this thing cuts out again, we could try that, because I don't know why. They're obviously restricted.
Yeah, I would say if it cuts out in 1 hour from is that it.
Or we could just jump back on at 8 o'clock if it cuts back out.
Oh, okay. So if it cuts us off.
If it cuts us off, we'll come back on at 8.
8 Central.
8